Yeah, I cannot wait for this. We all know this is the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, but this Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern on the History Channel, it's After Jackie, an original documentary that delves deep into the impact of Robinson and the enormous obstacles he faced. It also explores the untold stories of Bill White, Curt Flood, and the Hall of Famer Bob Gibson, who picked up where Jackie left off, advancing the status of black players on and off the field. There are heavy hitters behind the camera, in front of the camera, and that includes our next guest, longtime Cardinals broadcaster Mike Claiborne. He is part of this documentary. Mike, we're pleased to have you here. How would you describe the impact Jackie Robinson had on men like Bill White and Curt Flood, particularly White, a man that you got to cover very closely in your career?
Well, I really felt like he gave those guys the reason to, as I said in the documentary, push back. You have to remember, a lot of these guys had gone to college. They were better educated. They understood the situation a lot better. And I think they really felt like this was a time to make things even better, not just for themselves, but certainly the players who were going to come behind them. And I think the best example I would look at is just accommodations. I mean, it was one thing to play in the game. It was another thing to be in a position where you had to stay at a separate hotel, you had to eat in a separate restaurant, and players had said, wait a minute, if I can play with these guys, why can't I eat and sleep in the same hotels with them? And I think that was another issue that these players came together on and felt like we need to have more equal things. We don't need to be better. We just need to have things equal.
In the film, you talk about the 1964 Cardinals World Series championship team and the impact they had on society. How so?
Well, you have to remember that was an era during the civil rights era where there was a lot of strife going on in this country. And that was the one team, or that was one of the things in baseball where you saw black players and white players working together to achieve the common goal of success. And if you can do that on the field, maybe it would bring about some other things on working together to try and address some of the issues that were going on in this country from a civil rights standpoint.
Mike, before we let you go, let's fast forward to 2022. You saw last night Miles Mikolas one strike away from the no-hitter, and now Jack Flaherty making his season debut today for the St. Louis Cardinals. How is it all coming together for this staff right now?
Well, the staff is really starting to come together, as you mentioned. Miles was terrific last night. He's been very good in his last few outings, but having Jack Flaherty back really gives them a real push forward, because now you have Miles Mikolas, you have Jack Flaherty, you have Adam Wainwright, you have Dakota Hudson, and you have some other young pitchers that are finding their way within the rotation, which means you can move some other people back toward the bullpen. And as we all know, pitching is what this game is all about. You're going to need it now, and you hope you're going to need it in October, so the Cardinals are moving in the right direction.
Mike, we appreciate the time. It was great to have you on. Once again, the film is called After Jackie. It premieres this Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern on the History Channel. Mike, I was telling you my DVR is already set. I can't wait to watch. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.